Good evening. I'm going to call the Board of Education for meeting for Wednesday, May 15th to order. Mr. Aho, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Felber?
Here.
Mr. Solera?
Here.
Mr. Curtis?
Here.
Mrs. Davis?
Here.
Mrs. DeFabio?
Here.
And we're all here. If you'd all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I do not believe we have any changes to the agenda. Okay. So good evening and welcome again to the board meeting for Wednesday, May 15th, 2019. This is a meeting of the Board of Education, and I am Rob Felber, and honored to serve as the president of the school board. I've often said through my 6 years on the board that it takes a village to raise a child. With the renewal of our recent levy, it is once again evident that the community has spoken on the type of schools they want for their community. Thank you once again for affirming by over 66% the commitment to our students and the over 500 employees of the district who strive every day to know each child's story. Many thanks to the countless volunteers and the endorsements of associations, unions, and governments alike. Tonight we get to see the best of the best as we consider candidates being recommended for continuing contracts. You do not have to look far to see the unwavering commitment to excellence these educators represent. We'll hear just who they are and what makes them special shortly. And we're also getting to thank this time of year to our many retirees who have committed many countless years of support to our district. When many of us took this board position, we knew there'd be tough decisions. I can also tell you it's the surprises, and there are many of them, that you cannot prepare for as a candidate or as a board member. When we think of surprises, they're often not the ones you want to hear. Well, tonight I get to share a surprise, and it's a good one. No one on the board or the administration knows what I learned today. And I'll turn to the scared faces to my right, because they often do not know what I might say. You can see the fear in their eyes. No need. Tonight I have the honor of informing Superintendent Kathy Powers that she has been chosen by the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation as the 2019 Outstanding Superintendent of the Year. She didn't... I got a call today, and I hope that you didn't check your voicemail. No. So let that sink in. I'll continue with what I wrote after all that, but let that sink in. Wow, and I was also told there's a $10,000 prize attached to the award that the district will also receive. I love the good surprises. Later this fall, there will be a formal presentation. So as you can see, there's a lot to celebrate tonight. And now, seeing the shocked face of our superintendent, I'll now turn the meeting over to Mrs. Powers for her superintendent's report. Let's see if she can get through her report. Congratulations.
Wow. I had no idea.
You had no idea?
No.
I was worried that you were going to get it, because they said they left a voicemail. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, can I say this tonight? And they're like, yes. I mean, this was this afternoon, so.
Well, we've been meeting all afternoon with budget meetings with Mr.
Thank
Ramos,
goodness.
so.
I don't get to pull off surprises too often. Good surprise.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I will follow up with Dr. Keenan tomorrow. But my goodness, that is tremendous. And I have an idea for the $10,000 prize.
I heard.
Yeah. So we will certainly use that for the good of our kids and moving some of the board's ideas forward into the next school year. So that's very exciting. So thank you very much. Well, good evening, everyone. We were supposed to be surprising our staff with good things tonight, and this doesn't usually happen. I usually know stuff, so very delighted. As Mr. Felber just said, we are so appreciative of the residents of our community. The passage of Issue 5 was tremendous, and it was such a team effort. Starting back in January, members of our staff parents, students, and I have to say the City of Twinsburg, Twinsburg Township, and the Village of Reminderville just got behind the effort and really helped us gain the support of our community once again. So thank you very much to the residents of our community. Thank you to Mr. Walt Hoffman, who served from the Village of Reminderville, for Mr. Seth Roden from the City of Twinsburg, and from, I can't even think.
Twinsburg Township,
Yes.
sorry. I got
Mr.
you.
Tom Schmidt from the Township Trustee Board, and we do appreciate all of the guidance they provided, as well as Mr. Steve Cribley, who is our treasurer for the Blue Ribbon Schools Committee. So team effort, what it means is that we're on track now for next school year. We don't have to be concerned about back on the ballot come November. And it means that our focus, as it always is, and as it always should be on the classroom and what we do here to support our kids. So thank you very much to everyone. Last Friday night, Board of Education was just a wonderful event. It was the prom at Signature of Solon. I just want to thank Dr. Hebert and our senior class advisor, Brittany Hartery. I have to tell you, the students looked absolutely stunning. New York and Broadway and LA has nothing on the class of 19. They just were classy, had a great time, and everything went off without a hitch. Thanks also to the senior class officers who worked behind the scenes to make it just a night to remember. So we thank everybody there. Next Thursday, actually Thursday, May 30th, is the evening that the Twinsburg Ministerial Association will host Baccalaureate at St. Cosmas and Damian Church at 7 p.m. In our community, we are so fortunate that our ministers in town work together with the school district to host the baccalaureate every year, I should say. You should not have done that. And so if parents are interested to come out with their seniors and just participate, we invite you. It is a lovely evening, and we thank Father Michael Stalla over at Cosmas and Damian for hosting, as he always does, and it will be a very classy and wonderful event for the class of 2019. Speaking of the class of 2019, graduation will be on Sunday, June 2nd at 4:30 p.m. Once again, it will take place at E.J. Thomas Hall on the campus of the University of Akron. And we are just so excited about setting kids off to the world of work, or the world of college, or the world of military. And we have wonderful kids graduating, as was evidenced just about a week or so ago through the awards banquet. And we once again want to thank all of the local businesses and organizations that supported our students through the donation of scholarship dollars. It was a wonderful event. Also, we can't move on here without thanking our graduation advisor, Mrs. Donna Houston, who is very busy, taking into account every last detail about graduation. It's always a wonderful event, and we look forward to the same again on Sunday, June 2nd at 4:30 p.m. Also, Board of Education, our spring sports athletes are hard at it, and they are doing great things, and it is just a delight to watch Twitter and be at events and things. So we congratulate all of our teams. They're still very busy. In fact, this evening over at the Tiger Stadium, we have our very large Suburban League track meet going on. So a big event just across the street. So we continue to be very busy with lots of positive things for our kids, not only at the high school, but everywhere throughout the district. Monday, May 27th is Memorial Day, and we'll take a pause from our school week to remember those who have served and those who are serving our great country. And this year again, our Wilcox Primary Tigers have been invited by our VFW post here in town to march in the parade. So we thank Commander Joe Gisani and our friends at the post for always inviting our kids to participate. It is a special event for them, and it's important that our students really understand what Memorial Day is about, and so they get to do that in the parade. The rest of our students will enjoy their last day of school on Tuesday, June 4th, and the first day of school for the 1920 school year, which will be here in just a minute, is Wednesday, August 21st. So we have a busy summer ahead of us, lots of things to do. Mr. Welker is not here right now. He is off attending his kindergarten son's open house, so he'll be here shortly, but he is already very busy lining up all of the summer projects and getting the staff ready to be very engaged in all that happens. We have summer classes happening, and of course a time to refresh and be with your families through the summer months, enjoying each other. So lots of good things happening. So speaking of good things, we have great staff members to celebrate this evening. And this year, I'm asking Mr. Tim Sullen to help me with our recognition of our continuing contract individuals and also of our class of 2019. But before we get to that, I wanted to introduce, again, somebody who used to help me with this presentation, who was resurrected from retirement, and who is now back busy helping with a special project affiliated with our academy at Twinsburg High School and in partnership with the Twinsburg Chamber of Commerce, and that's Mrs. McKinney. And she has an announcement she would like to make about an exciting opportunity for our underclassmen at Twinsburg High School. Good evening, Mrs. McKinney.
Good evening, Superintendent Powers, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
And good evening, Board of Education and staff and community. I want to talk about our upcoming job fair. We have a summer job fair which will be held at Twinsburg High School Wednesday, May 29th, 2019. This job fair is for students who are ages 15, 16, and 17. And we have partnered with the Chamber of Commerce to put together an awesome job fair consisting of the area businesses here in Twinsburg. And they will come out and interview our students and offer jobs not only during the summer, but beyond summer as well. Yeah, I've been on the move the last couple of days, along with Megan Everhart from the Chamber, shaking hands and meeting the area business owners and inviting them to attend our fair. So to date, because we just went out yesterday, we have about 10 businesses so far, and we have about 30 students. Today I was at Twinsburg High School. I'm enlisting students to register for the fair, so I'm looking for those numbers to go up drastically because there was a lot of interest. There was also a lot of interest from the business owners as well. And right now we have a realty company, we have retail, we have food service, we have a construction company, and just a variety of businesses in our area who want to hire the students for the summer. Now, prior to attending the fair, the students have to attend a preparation training session. During that session, we will help them with their resume, we will help them with their interviewing skills and do some mock interviewing, and also talk about all the other soft skills that they will need to be successful with employment. And we know for some of them this will be their first opportunity at employment. In addition to that, all of the businesses who hire our students will have access to a job coach, which will be me as well. And so I will be checking in with the businesses weekly to make sure our students are doing what they need to do on the job. If they're having any problems with attendance or performance or anything like that, then I'll be working with the student, the employer, and also the parent so that our students can have a very successful work experience. So that's our job fair. So if you know any business owners who are interested in hiring our students, or you know some students who are looking for summer work, please have them go onto the district's website or the Chamber's website, and the forms are there. There are links for them to register. There's a link for the business owners as well as a link for the students. Thank you.
Ms. McKinney, I think the neat thing about this is your role in helping our kids be successful. Many of these students, this will be their very first jobs.
Correct.
And when we met with the Business Advisory Council, and this is how the idea was actually born, we were talking about internships for students, and what we recognized through the Business Advisory Council is sometimes it's not so much it's not the internships, but it's the first job. And understanding what all that means when you're not used to having a job and you're a teenager and you have a lot of other things going on, right?
Correct.
And so it was out of our Business Advisory Council, and Mr. Felber and Mr. Solera sit on the council, that the idea was born attached to the academy at Twinsburg High School. And I really think that having you as the job coach will help settle some of our students, get them in the right mindset for their very first job, and then also really help the local businesses, because I've heard from one of our advisory members that she works for a business, and the employees themselves weren't quite sure about how to work around a young person. And so it's a certain skill set you have to have, and I think that's great that you're going to help out.
And we also have two of our academy partners who have volunteered to help me with the training of the students as well. So that was a nice thing. I got those emails in there, wanting to come to the training sessions and help me work with the kids, because they do that type of work for their employers. So we're getting a lot of interest, so I'm excited.
That's great.
All right.
Well, thank you, Ms. McKinney.
All right, thank you.
Well, I would have had Ms. McKinney say right where she was to help, but now I have Mr. Sullen that can help me with that. Tough act to follow, though. So we're going to ask Mr. Selman to come forward because we'd like to recognize and honor teachers and educators who have now become qualified for a continuing contract. In Board of Education, a continuing contract is an important step if you're an educator because what that means is that you have proven through your performance in the classroom, through your dedication to our students, and to your intentional efforts to stay at the very best and on the top of your professional game, that they are excellent members of our staff and have met the requirements of Ohio Revised Code 3319.08 and 3319.11. So this evening we have 4 educators who I am delighted to recommend to you to receive continuing contracts, and they're all here this evening. We ask that when your name is called, if you would please come forward, shake hands with the board, and Mr. Sullivan and I have a few comments to make about your performance and why you're the perfect person to recommend to the Board of Education for a continuing contract. Mr. Sullivan.
Good evening, Board. Thank you, Mrs. Powers. Tonight we are here to recognize our staff members who are eligible for the continuing contracts. First, we would like to recognize Gabrielle Copen.
We are all the same.
I thought we were doing a picture afterwards.
Mrs. Copen has been in the Twinsburg City School District for 4 years. Mrs. Copen became a teacher because she really loves working with adolescents and wanted to be able to make a lasting impact in their lives, whether that's through the skills of a 5-paragraph essay or not. One of her favorite classroom memories is when she and a co-teacher created a unit where students produced 7 pieces of writing about a single topic. So, although this isn't a single memory, she loved learning about students' passions and seeing these projects come together each year. Mrs. Copen thinks that the 3 most important qualities of a successful teacher are commitment to quality, passion for students, and enthusiasm for the subject area. She believes that her students know she loves to teach because she shows them that she is more concerned with the process of learning rather than the grade. Students receive detailed feedback, they conference with her, and they participate in the retake process in order to maximize their learning. In her spare time, Gabrielle enjoys spending her time with her husband, their daughter, and their dog, as well as reading, baking, and exercising. Gabrielle would like to share that she and her husband will be welcoming a second tiger to their family in July, and they are proud to be raising their children in the wonderful Twinsburg community. Mrs. Copen.
Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Dan Lundy, who is an educator in the area of art at the Twinsburg High School. Mr. Lundy has been with our district for 5 years. After college, he started working in the graphic design field. After 2 years of sitting at a desk all day, he felt very unfulfilled. Dan decided to combine his passions of helping others and creating art, and so he became an art educator. And you know, you see interesting and creative things in all kinds of art, and I want to read a paragraph to you that really shows some creativity and classroom and how kids can hook into art in the very oddest ways, but this is a true story. One of Mr. Lundy's favorite classroom memories was last year in his AP Art History class. The class was discussing a radical artist who submitted a urinal as art in 1917. It challenged what we define as art. At the end of the year, his students all chipped in to buy him a urinal that they all signed. Quite a piece of art. When his students presented it to him, he was as shocked as the world of art was in 1917. Mr. Lundy believes that the 3 most important qualities of a successful teacher are enthusiasm, compassion, and dedication. And his students know that he loves to teach because he comes to class every day prepared and truly is happy to be there. His students can tell that he enjoys teaching because of his enthusiasm for the content. He is willing to ask open-ended questions, has great discussion, and is willing to listen to student feedback. In his free time, Mr. Lundy enjoys spending time with his wife and 3 kids, and they love traveling together and discovering new places. Dan also loves running and visiting museums. Mr. Lundy would like to say thank you for allowing him to be a part of this amazing community. He is thankful for the administrators, fellow teachers, and students in the Twinsburg City School District. Congratulations, Mr. Lundy.
Next up, we have Lisa Moore, Assistant Principal at R.B. Chamberlain Middle School. Although Ms. Moore is not a teacher, she's eligible for a continuing contract because she held a continuing contract through Cleveland Metropolitan School District, as well as she has now completed 2 successful years as an administrator in the Twinsburg City School District. If you broke it, we may change our mind. Okay. Lisa has been in the district for 2 years. Besides wanting to reach and teach young people, Mrs. Moore became a teacher to pour her influence and love of learning into each student. One of Mrs. Moore's favorite classroom memories was when one of her special needs students created a school newsletter. They were researching, interviewing, writing, and drinking hot chocolate and had a great time engaging in literacy. Mrs. Moore believes that a successful teacher should be compassionate, teachable, and willing to meet students where they are in order to move them forward. Students know that Mrs. Moore loves working with them by the relationships she builds and maintains. In her spare time, Lisa loves to read, paint, and sing in the church choir. Congratulations, Mrs. Moore.
Next, I'd like to introduce Ms. Julianne Walker, who is one of our wonderful assistant principals at George G. Dodge Intermediate School. Mrs. Walker has been in our school district for the past 2 years, been an amazing asset to not only Dodge, but also the school district. And in her previous employment with the Bedford City School District, she gained a continuing contract status as an elementary school teacher, therefore is eligible for tenure this evening as an educator as well. Ms. Walker knew she wanted to become a teacher from a very young age. She loves children, and helping them learn and grow is extremely rewarding to her. Ms. Walker's favorite memory is that of a student she had in 4th grade. The student returned years later to pay her a visit. He had just completed basic training for the military and was home for just 2 days. He popped in to see her and thanked her for always pushing him to be the best. Ms. Walker believes a successful teacher should be a good listener, a great communicator, and someone who goes above and beyond to build trusting relationships with each student. Ms. Walker's students know she cares about them and enjoys working with them by the relationships she builds with them. They share jokes and personal experiences, and they know they can count on her to listen when they are upset or frustrated. Ms. Walker is a huge Cleveland Indians fan and tries to attend as many games as possible in her spare time. She also loves going on long walks with her dog, and she is very anxious to get back to it. As you can see, she had a little injury caused by the dog, actually, and we're happy that she's on her 2 feet now. Ms. Walker would like to share that she spent 23 years as a teacher, with 13 of those being a classroom teacher and 10 as a data instructional coach. She is honored to receive tenure with the Twinsburg City School District. Congratulations, Ms. Walker. So Board of Education, it is my honor and my pleasure this evening to recommend these 4 fine educators for continuing contract with the Twinsburg City School District. In their time here, they have demonstrated a passion for teaching, a love for our students, and a dedication to our school community. And so it is without reservation that I hope that you approve my recommendation for each of them this evening. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. And now it is our pleasure to acknowledge and celebrate our retirees in the class of 2019. You know, we talked a lot about our class of 2019 being our young teens across the street ready to go on to their next best. But this class of 2019, I'm going to cry, is ready to go on to theirs too. And so I want to ask our TEA president to please come forward to celebrate our retirements. And I don't see Mr. Hager here, but we acknowledge that both of our labor unions do so much in support of our employees, and we thank you for being here this evening to celebrate and their success as well. Also, Ms. Wilner, who is one of the secretaries with TEA, is joining us up on the stage tonight too.
The first retiree we would like to recognize this evening would be Mr. Dennis Knox. Dennis effectively retired January 28th of 2019. Dennis has dedicated 4 years to the Twinsburg City School District. He started driving for the Hudson schools, then went to Solon schools before coming home to Twinsburg. He spent 4 years between Hudson and Solon. Dennis's favorite memory from his time in the Twinsburg City School District is driving bus 37 for Aurora Shores. They were good kids, he said, and they had a lot of laughs. Dennis misses the little ones and the Charlie's Angels staff of Wilcox. Dennis is enjoying retirement and spending time with his family. Mr. Dennis Knox.
Our next retiree is Mr. Bill Fleming from our Transportation Department. And Bill made a decision just yesterday to retire at the end of the year. So this is it was quick for us, and it was, I think, maybe a long thought-out process, but he just finally said, okay, I'm ready to go and retire. So he's not here this evening, but we do wish him well. And here's a little bit of information about Bill. Bill has been with the Twinsburg City School District for 5 years, and prior to this, he worked at Little Tykes as an art director for 16 years. Bill's favorite memory from his time in the district is getting thank you cards from our students. He's going to miss seeing his kids every morning and every afternoon, and he plans to spend more time on his hobbies, which include artwork and running. Congratulations to Mr. Bill Fleming.
Next, we would like to recognize Mr. Don Yoakum. Don effectively retired January 19th of 2019. Don has dedicated 13 years to the Twinsburg City School District, 9 as a bus driver and 4 as a bus aide. Prior to this, he was an engineering scheduler at Babcock and Wilcox in Barberton for 23 years. Don's favorite memory of the Twinsburg City School District is getting hugs, smiles, and high fives from the little ones. Don misses seeing his friends, the students, and their parents every day. Don plans to do some traveling and spend time with his grandkids and just relax. Congratulations, Don.
Next, it is my honor to introduce Mrs. Jackie Krajcik, one of our school counselors at Twinsburg High School. Mrs. Krajcik has dedicated 17 years to the Twinsburg City School District. Prior to that, she was at Northwestern High School in Wayne County, Ohio for 20 years. Jackie's favorite memory from her time in the Twinsburg City School District is when she and Mr. Brown took a group of students to a student leadership retreat in Peninsula, Ohio. They took a night hike in the woods with our city kids, and it was absolutely hilarious. Jackie is going to miss the people, the kids, and the relationships she has built with all of our friends here in the school district over her years. And she plans many things, and so many that she couldn't list them all, but she said some of the things that she plans to do during her retirement is to spend more time with her family and her grandkids, volunteer with therapeutic horseback riding, getting a new puppy. I don't know if you know that, right? Okay, there you go. Getting a new puppy and training him for agility and therapy, gardening, traveling, and taking in her daughter's softball games. Jackie, we have just been so blessed by your presence at the high school over the years, at least in my time here, and we thank you for your drive and dedication to make sure that all of our kids in that senior class are ready to do their very next best thing. On behalf of the board, thank you.
Next, we would like to recognize Miss Judy Selman. Judy is unable to be with us this evening. She retired effectively March 23rd of 2019. Judy was with the Twinsburg City School District for 20 years. Prior to that, she worked for Stouffer's for 10 years and was a stay-at-home mom in between. Judy can't name a favorite memory from her time in Twinsburg City School District because she says it was all absolutely wonderful. Judy misses all of the people, but is currently spending time with her grandchildren during her retirement. Congratulations, Miss Judy Selman.
Also, I'd like to introduce Miss Robin Green from our transportation department. She was a bus driver and an onboard instructor. Also, like Miss Selman, Miss Green previously retired, and you'll see where she is right now when I read her little story. Robin worked for the Twinsburg City School District as a bus driver and an onboard instructor for almost 20 years. Robin also worked with her husband at Northfield Park taking care of horses. She is currently living on her horse farm in Kentucky with her husband and her grandson, and despite enjoying the quiet farm life, she misses seeing her students and co-workers. And Robin was an absolute wonderful person, a charm to work with, and we do hope her experience on that horse farm is going to be great, and we wish her all the very best from the Twinsburg City School District.
Next, we would like to recognize Marilyn Murray, school psychologist, THS. Dr. Murray has worked in the field of mental health for 45 years and as a school psychologist of 35 of those years. The last 21 years have been in Twinsburg City School District, where she considers those she works with as extended family. Marilyn does not just have one favorite memory from her time in the Twinsburg City School District. Rather, her favorite memories are the ordinary moments and conversations with teachers, students, and parents. Marilyn is going to miss the people, the kids, but more specifically, she is going to miss being able to support students and families when they are going through a hard time. For the future, Marilyn plans to bring stress reduction, meditation, and mindfulness, heartfulness to the schools, visit the Fiji Islands where her son is moving, and enter private practice as a psychologist. Congratulations, Marilyn Murray.
Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Karen Miller from our transportation department. And Ms. Miller is not here this evening. She also has worked for the Board of Education for 25 years. Ms. Miller stated that her favorite memory from her time here in the district was one of the funniest times that sticks in her mind was when she was aiding. It was in the middle of winter, and she was running to get on the bus with Faye, who was one of the attendants on the bus. And as she approached the door of the bus, she slid, and the lower half of her body went underneath the bus. Thank goodness it was at the bus garage. She was flat on her back, and she and Faye just started laughing in hysterics. And it was just one of those funny moments, and something that she remembers very fondly, and the collegiality and the friendship that she forged over at the bus garage. So Ms. Miller has a wonderful sense of humor, and I'm glad she wasn't hurt that day, but she did have a good laugh with her colleague. Karen is going to miss the interactions with the kids and driving the bus, and in the future she plans to, Mr. House, listen to this, she wants to be one of our substitute bus drivers, so sign her up now. And she plans to spend time with her grandkids, and she wants to start her own baking company. So we'll all have to order some cakes from Karen when she gets up and running. So congratulations to Ms. Karen Miller.
Next, we would like to recognize Mr. John Mattoon. Unfortunately, he is choosing not to be with us this evening as he is over at Tiger Stadium because he said that he felt a commitment to the kids as he's coaching track this evening. So we are going to recognize him. John has been with the Twinsburg City School District for 30 years. Prior to that, he taught for 2 years in the Youngstown parochial schools. John's favorite memory from his time in Twinsburg City School District is coaching the kids and working with the staff. John is going to miss seeing the students who come back to visit who have grown up and are appreciative of what they learned and what the Twinsburg schools did for them. In the future, John plans on officiating track and cross country during his retirement. Mr. John Mattoon.
Next, we'd like to recognize Mike Solinsky from our transportation office. He's also one of our bus drivers, unable to make it this evening. But Mike has worked for our district as a bus driver for 30 years. In addition to being a bus driver, he was an onboard instructor for several years and worked in the office. Most recently, he drove one of our routes for our exceptional children, and Mike is known around the bus garage as a person of great humor. He brings his homemade beef jerky to work and shares it, and his cotton candy, which is also homemade. So I think the transportation department has benefited from Mr. Solinsky's culinary expertise, and we're going to miss him and his culinary expertise as he moves on to his wonderful retirement. Congratulations to Mr. Mike Solinsky.
Next, we would like to recognize Julie Haynes. Julie has been in the Twinsburg City School District for 31 years. Prior to that, she worked at Maple Heights Middle School for 2 years, St. Francis de Sales Elementary in Akron for 1 year, and bought a year of service for time working at the University of Akron for a total of 35 years of service. Julie has too many favorite memories to choose just one, but she is happy to have been able to include many students in the variety of school functions, including student council, safety patrol, and the school bookstore throughout her years in the district. This year, there were 240 students involved. Right up there with this would be the many staff functions throughout the years at Bissell. Julie will definitely miss seeing the kiddos each day and will miss the friendships and camaraderie formed with so many wonderful people throughout the years. Julie plans for the future to continue to teach an adapted physical education class, as well as supervising a couple of student teachers at Kent State University. She will be spending 1 day a week in her daughter's classroom, who teaches art in the Brunswick City School District. She also plans to spend much more time with her parents who live in Hartville, and hopes to travel and work around her newly remodeled home with her husband. Sounds like you're going to be busy. That's a honey-do list for you. And last but not least, Julie also plans to continue to come up to exercise with some of her favorite people in the district a couple of days a week, and she might even substitute teach every once in a while. Congratulations, Julie.
And I just want to mention that, this year our district had our wellness initiative for our staff. The mastermind, one of the masterminds behind the district's wellness initiative for our employees was Ms. Julie Haynes. And so we do thank you. It's been a great year. So much enthusiasm, so much camaraderie, and that's thanks to your interest in making sure we're all well. So thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Ms. Julie Van Diest. Ms. Van Diest has worked for the Twinsburg City School District for 32 years. Prior to that, she subbed for a half year in Kenston. Julie's favorite memory from her time in the Twinsburg City School District is always working with her wonderful staff. Julie is going to miss the daily interactions and working with our students, and her plans for the future include enjoying retired life, spending time with her family, and going to craft shows. And I just want to mention a couple of years back when our friends over at the VFW wanted to bring the memorial wall to Twinsburg High School. Mrs. Van Diest was one of our art educators that got behind the effort, and the art display that was there, along with the help from Mr. Lundy, who's also being recognized this evening, is a memory that I will always have, and it was just fantastic. So thank you for always giving back to our community and always going the extra mile. We're going to miss you. Congratulations.
Next, we would like to recognize Mr. Robert Sommers. Unfortunately, he is unable to attend this evening. Mr. Sommers has worked in the Twinsburg City School District for 33 years. He spent 2 years in Aurora and 1 year as a substitute teacher. He worked as a summer school teacher for 3 years in Puerto Rico. His favorite memory of Twinsburg is working with the children and watching them grow from school age through high school, and then having the opportunity to work with their children as they entered the district. Mr. Sommers is going to miss the friendships with the staff. He will continue to work by driving a truck and working for a trucking company. He will continue with his art and try to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Mr. Sommers.
Board of Education, it is Tim Selman and my great honor to recognize this evening's class of 2019. It has been a pleasure and an honor working with each and every one of these. And Mr. Felber, I wonder if you wanted to say a few words to our class.
Surprise you so you can make me. Congratulations. You know, like I said earlier, it takes a village to raise a child. And we've been hearing about knowing each child's story, whether it's greeting them on a bus, in the classroom, food service, what have you. It's just amazing what you've all done. And I have a daughter just 2 exams away from finishing her first year studying to be a teacher. And, you know, that inspiration started in kindergarten. So hopefully she'll be following the many great examples you guys have given us to see tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board of Education, if you would like to join our class of 2019, and Ms. Fink and Ms. Wilner, if you would like to join our retiring class as well for a nice photo opportunity. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Oh my, I forgot the certificate. Oh, I had one job.
Mr. Felber, that concludes our report for this evening. I know you wanted to take a recess for the board to congratulate our wonderful educators and support staff individually.
Thank you. And the purpose of the recess is to give you the certificates that I forgot that we're up here. I was so excited to be down there with you. I'm going to make a motion that the board take a recess. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Slura. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Felber?
Yes.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. DeFabio?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
And we are in recess. Thank you.
Here for.
That's reconvene, Mr. Aho. We are all here.
Very good.
We are at wait, hold on. Yes, yeah, we're at committee reports. Do I have any reports from my colleagues? All right. So I'm going to turn it over to the 2019 Superintendent of the Year for the administrative reports.
I was speechless once. I have to do some work here. Thank you. Well, Board of Education, annually at this meeting, we introduce to our community our fees, and Mrs. Farthing is going to project it up on the screen for us tonight. As you know, the Board of Education, through its Finance Subcommittee, diligently works to review our spending and to work with our administrative team to recommend to the Board of Education in full the fee schedule and the lunch prices for the coming school year. So this evening, I just have a summary of our recommendations. In the attachments for the board agenda this evening is the actual student fee guidelines that give specific information about pay to participate fees, academic fees. And on the board agenda this evening is the recommendation for breakfast and lunch prices, as well as our rental fee schedule recommendation for next year. But I wanted to just walk everyone through some of the work that goes behind the scenes and how some of these numbers are calculated, because I think our parents appreciate the information, and we are always trying to be transparent in the functions that happen here in our school district. So to begin, Board of Education, we will talk about our academic fees. And the academic fees are compiled through great work out of our curriculum department. Mrs. Farthing and our principals work together to determine what kinds of consumable materials we'll be using for the coming year, what kind of apps we are using for our computers, what kinds of supports we provide our students. And for the coming school year, you will see that the integrated preschool program, the IPP, the academic fee, which primarily purchases snacks, and the Scholastic magazine subscription for our youngest kids is going to be $75. That is not an increase, that is the same as the current year. And then for our kindergarten preparatory program, also known as KPP, again, that is to purchase snacks for the children, as well as the subscription to Scholastic magazine, is $85. That is a slight increase. What we knew going into the current year is that we weren't sure by expanding that part of preschool to 5 days a week what the expenses would be. So this now rights that a little bit. So the KPP student academic fee will be $85 recommended for next school year. In grades K through 3, we're recommending the fee per child at $80. This current year it is $75. In grades 4 through 8, we're recommending $90. In grade 9, $55. In grade 10 through 12, $47.50, and that does not change from the current year. Some of the additional things that our students will be using for which these fees have been calculated, Board of Education, we are an innovative school district with the rollout of Chromebooks, and there are many, many applications that are being used now, or apps in our classrooms for which there's a subscription price. And so some of the new things for next year is Splash Math, Freckle, Pear Deck, Gizmos, and Edulastic. And at grade 9, the increase there is primarily due to the fact that all 9th graders will be completing the pre-ACT as part of the testing protocol here in the district. And so that is the increase there at grade 9 and the reason for it. Students who are participating in a free and reduced lunch program here in the district, if they are qualifying to receive free lunches and breakfast, actually the fee is waived for those students, and students who are qualifying for the reduced price lunches, their fees are reduced by 1/2. In order for parents, though, to participate fully in this academic fee reduction, if their child is receiving free or reduced lunch, they must also complete something called a waiver form. And as we get underway in August, as part of our online registration system, the parents will be able to complete the waiver and submit it. The reason for that is students who apply for free and reduced lunch and who are qualifying for that, that is confidential information. And in order for Mr. Bindis to share that even with the building principals, the parent has to provide permission for him to do that. And so it's important that the parent would complete the waiver so that we can credit their accounts based on the child's free or reduced lunch status. Pay to participate is the next thing we'll talk about here, and our pay to participate fees are based upon 25% of the total cost of the program. So the cost of running, say, football or academic challenge or student council is far surpasses the fee that is charged per child, and in fact it is only 25% of the total cost of running each of the programs that are on our fee schedule for our students. Also, Mr. Welker does a great job in collaboration with Mr. House, our transportation supervisor, Ms. Abbott, our assistant transportation supervisor, Mr. Fantone, and Mr. Schwed, who oversee athletics, to try to coordinate what the numbers on the chart that we use. And for the purposes of the participants for each of those sports, we use a 4-year average, because participation ebbs and flows. But what I do want to tell you, and Mr. Welker will share that as well, is that we often hear that the pay to participate fee causes fewer kids to participate, what is not the truth. And actually we have trend data that indicates that the pay to participate fee has not had a negative impact on participation. In fact, this current year we saw more kids than ever before participating. So we just wanted to make sure that that information was out to our community. And the costs considered in our pay to participate fee include the cost of transportation, personnel, entry fees, equipment costs, and facility rentals. And all that is put into these humongous spreadsheets that Mr. Welker puts together for us. Good thing he's good with math and Excel spreadsheets. And then it is determined based on what 25% of those activities would cost us. We do want to say, though, Board of Education, when we take a look at sports for which there is a male team and a female team, because of Title IX, the same fee is charged to both boys and girls. So that is just a consideration that we look at. So for example, for boys basketball and girls basketball, The calculation may be slightly different, but when we charge the fee, understanding that it's of the same sport but for different genders, the fee is the same for both genders. Continuing in the 2019-20 school year, we will request once again that the board give consideration for students who are participating in the federal lunch program. Again, students who are participating, who are qualifying for free and reduced lunch. If a student is qualifying for a free lunch, then their pay to participate fees are reduced by 1/2, or they have been in the past. We're recommending the same moving forward. And students who are qualifying for the reduced price lunch through the federal lunch and breakfast program would have their fee for pay to participate reduced by 1/4 for each of the activities that they wish to participate in. And once again, another reminder that our parents must sign the waiver form to be able to have those fees waived. Otherwise, Mr. Bindis cannot inform our staff that the child is qualifying for the reduction. So looking for some examples here, if a child were qualified for a free lunch program or breakfast program, and the pay participate fee, for example, would be $150 for a student who's interested in our high school baseball team, that fee would be reduced by 1/2, and the student would only be responsible for $75 of that fee. Likewise, if the student is qualifying for the reduced price lunch program, and he or she is running cross-country at $60 a student, that reduction would mean that they would pay $45, or 1/4 of what the cost would be for a cross-country team. Really, the importance here is making sure that the parents apply for the federal lunch program if they believe that their student may be eligible. And for students participating in the fall sports, the current qualifier for free and reduced lunch is used to determine the reduction for the fall sports season. And that's only because we don't even have the information now for parents to apply for free and reduced lunch when we kick off on August 1st, all of the fall sports. So we use this year's current free and reduced lunch applications and qualifiers to determine the reductions for the fall sports season. And then as we get underway, the qualifiers for the 19-20 school year will be used to determine whether or not a student would meet the requirements for qualifications for reductions to their pay to participate fee using next year's waiver forms. As far as academic and pay to participate fees, our parents are once again able to pay either by check or through the Easy Pay system, and that information is on the district website. And it's up here on the PowerPoint as well. And parents' contact person for the purpose of pay to participate fees and academic fees would be Mr. Fantone, who oversees this as part of his responsibilities under being the coordinator of K-12 student activities. And listed on the screen are Mr. Fantone's email address as well as his office phone number. Moving on now to our breakfast and lunch prices being recommended. The financial committee met with Mr. Bindis and Mr. Welker and I a couple weeks back, and for the purposes of our lunch and breakfast prices, Board of Education, just a little fact for you, the last time there was an increase in lunch prices in our district was in 2016. And the board instituted our breakfast program during the 2013-14 school year at $1.50 a student. That has not risen in price since the 2013-14 school year. As you know, even in grocery shopping for your family, the cost of food sometimes continues to rise. And so Mr. Bindis requested of Mr. Welker and myself and then the Finance Committee that prices across the board here will be increased by 25 cents. So the kindergarten grade 3 lunch price is being recommended at $3. The grade 4 through 6th grade lunch price at $3.25. Our grade 7 and 8th grade lunch price at $3.25. Our 9th through 12th grade lunch price at $3.25, and breakfast would be $1.75 beginning in August if you approve the recommendation this evening. And then finally, just a note about our rental fee schedule. Board of Education, one of the things that we looked at the Finance Committee was our rental fees for the current school year, and the Finance Committee made a recommendation that we would hold firm on the cost of renting all of our facilities. So this evening, the recommendation will be that we remain the same for the 19-20 school year as was approved last year. Information for those interested in renting any of our facilities can be found under the district website on the For Community tab and then under Building Use and Rental. And Mr. Fran Martino, who works in Marty's office as our assistant treasurer, is our point person for rental fees here in the district, and listed there on the screen as Mr. Fran Martino's email address as well as his direct phone number. So those are the recommendations this evening on behalf of Chad and Jen and myself to you, and as discussed at the Finance Committee, I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
I just have a couple comments and a history lesson. First of all, tremendous amount of work goes into these, having experienced it several times through the Finance Committee. The one that always, jumps out at me is on sports and activities. A lot of schools choose to just throw a dart and pick an arbitrary fee for everything, and we go through painstaking data. Every sport is different, every activity is different, ice time, ref fees and so forth, and so a lot of that is calculated, and as Superintendent Powers mentioned, the participation. And still, at only 25%, I think it's still quite fair. And now for the history lesson, for those that, we've talked about levies, we've talked about, tangible personal property tax. Pay to participate and academic fees were part of the operational change plan. And I think it's always good to remember our roots, as well as our fiduciary responsibility to, to the members of the district. And in this case, the operational change plan was a three-legged stool. There were unfortunate reductions in staff, there were academic fees and pay to participate, and then of course a levy at that time. And as we continue to try to push that line out, as Marty does it, every biennial 5-year forecast, that's what we're trying to do, trying to keep the district in good financial straits, support the way the community wants the schools to be run, and to take this fiduciary responsibility very serious. A lot of people ask us about the question and the timing of this. This is the time of year where we have to do that because of all the operations. The operation of the district doesn't change, based on a levy or so forth. Yes, the levy passed, but we still have to operate the district, and we have to remember our history. And in this case, this is a good time to say, we got here many years ago and have been solvent because of the hard work of the board that preceded us, and Superintendent Powers when she came in 2011, and had the hard work of instituting the operational change plan. So there's the history lesson is over. So I'll open up to my colleagues if they have further comments.
I think you did a good job of putting some context to that, but, I also encourage our community is if you have further questions and or concerns with respect to any of the fees, what goes into setting the fees, or anything like that, social media is not a reliable source of good information. I strongly encourage you to pick up the phone. Call the superintendent's office. Talk to the members of the Board of Education. As Mr. Felber has alluded, this has been a process over a number of years. A lot of work and study goes into this, and this board has debated many other aspects of the fees. We are very sensitive to any hardships that are out there. We take care in examining possible hardships. We do examine trend data on a regular basis, and we do look at participation. We look at a lot of different elements to make sure that these fees, whatever they may be, whether they be academic, whether they be athletic, whether they be for food service or whatever the case may be, that they're not a deterrent for students and families to have access to quality education, to be able to participate in extracurricular activities, to make sure that they're able to do what they need to do academically in this district. So we'll continue to do that year in and year out to make sure that we're making good decisions, moving forward. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm part of that.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Any further comments? Superintendent Powers, anything further administratively?
Not this evening, thank you.
All right. We are going to move on to remonstrance, and I do have one blue card. Mr. Aho, do you have any others? No. All right, so I'm going to ask Jennifer Wilson if she'd like to come forward.
I apologize for my attire. I just raced from work. My name is Jennifer Wilson. I'm at 3183 Abrams Drive. And good evening to the board. Good evening, Ms. Powers and staff and all whom are present. I just came to say thank you. I was told that usually those blue cards are not a happy occasion, but I'm here to break that mold. I wanted to say thank you to the school district, especially a thank you to Mrs. Powers and all that she does in running our school district. When we moved to Abrams, we were the third family to build the home in that community. And we decided on Twinsburg because of its reputation as far as being educators and the diversity here. And it has been nothing but exceptional in our eyes. My daughter, Amber Wilson, had gone on to Emory University where she's studying nursing and has an externship with the Cleveland Clinic. Asia Wilson pursues broadcasting, and she has an internship with Channel 3 and is asked to go to New York possibly next year, knock on wood, to work for the Today Show. So I am just so excited and have nothing but praises for our school district and the education and the excellence that you provide. When I first came here, I was an at-home mom for some 20 years now. Yikes. And as an at-home mom, I got to serve as room parent. I got to serve as, then it was called the PTO treasurer. I also had the pleasure of being one of the co-chairs of your levies in the past. So I am just so thankful for those opportunities, thankful to each and every one of you. So now we talked about why I came to say thank you. My last child, Tracy Wilson. Tracy Wilson was a part of the College Credit Plus program. And with that program, he receives dual credit in high school and dual credit with the college. So he has earned his associate's degree. Tomorrow, we will go to the Woolstein Center, and he will get an Associate's of Arts from Krajcik. He has been accepted to his college of education at Cleveland State University, where he will pursue a degree in middle childhood education with his concentration in social studies and mathematics. And all of that has to do with the experience, because Tracy Wilson I had two kids who were off the charts, and I had one little boy who struggled. One little boy who was uncertain of himself academically. One little boy who was in Mrs. Turpak's, the pre-K program that they had as a peer, but he still needed that help. And now to see him and to earn that associate is not something that I thought was celebratory for us as a family, but for all of us as a school district. So I just wanted to say thank you so much.
I forgot to mention that he's graduating from the high school at the same time.
Oh, yeah. He's graduating from the high school. He'll be graduating from the high school June 2nd. And so he's graduating with his associates on tomorrow, and then from the high school June 2nd. So we are just so amazed and just so thankful to Twinsburg City Schools for making that possible, for supporting the program. I didn't write this down because it's heartfelt. And I felt like you didn't need any notes for something that's coming from within. So I do want to share this with you. I reached out I just got to meet Dr. Hebert, wonderful lady, and she informed me that they are going to make mention of his achievement during her remarks. However, I would just like him on that stage, because that's something, although it's celebrating it's his high school graduation, and it was dual credit, and it's something that he earned in high school. So I'm hoping that as I have one more conversation and try to reach out and see if they'll let him stand on that stage or sit on that stage when she makes mention of his achievement, that just as I advocated for levies and have been an advocate through the years for the school district, that you might reach out as well and help me out on that so that he can continue to get the encouragement that he needs in this last hurrah. So I'm looking forward to being an empty nester, and I want to thank each and every one of you personally for all that you do for Twinsburg City Schools, and go Tigers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson. You know, we don't often respond because, you know, remonstrance, we hear it and we don't respond. But we have this every 2 weeks, and you can come back every single time. We can have a pre-filled card out. Thank you. And moving on, no more remonstrance, Mr. Aho?
Nope.
All right, I'm going to move on to K, Treasurer's Report, and without objection from my colleagues, read K 1, 2, and 3. K1, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the following meeting minutes, regular meeting of April 17, 2019, and May 1st, 2019, as sent to the board under separate cover. 2, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the following financial reports for the month of March: bank reconciliation, general fund financial summary report, and financial report by fund, as sent to the board under separate cover. And finally, 3, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the check register for the month of March 2019 as a total including payroll $4,402,320.15. Is there a motion for those 3 items as read?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Solera. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Curtis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. DeFabio?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Felber?
Yes. And K 1, 2, and 3 pass 5-0. Moving on to action items personnel L. I will read L 1, 2, and 3 together. L1, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the certificated license personnel and/or contract recommendations detailed in the attached exhibit as per the dates, terms, and other applicable conditions specified pending satisfactory ORC background checks. 2, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the classified personnel and/or contract recommendations detailed in the attached exhibit as per the dates, terms, and other applicable conditions specified pending satisfactory ORC background checks. And 3, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education accepts the supplemental contract recommendations detailed in the attached exhibit as per the dates, terms, and other applicable conditions specified pending satisfactory ORC background checks. Is there a motion for L 1, 2, and 3?
So moved.
I'm going to go with Mrs. Davis. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Mrs. DeFabio. Is there any discussion? Congratulations to our teachers and our retirees that we celebrated earlier. You know, their effort and dedication, it's an understatement to even thank them yet again, but the dedication and the number of years, I stopped counting, over 150-some years of dedication to this district. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. DeFabio?
Yes.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mr. Felber?
Yes. And L 1, 2, and 3 pass 5-0. Moving on to action items M, I will read 1 through 12 together. M1, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the 2019-2020 student parent handbooks for the Twinsburg High School, R.B. Chamberlain Middle School, George G. Dodge Intermediate School, Samuel Bissell Elementary School, Wilcox Primary School, Wilcox Integrated Preschool Program, and the Kindergarten Preparatory Program, the District Handbook, District Athletic Handbook, and the District Coaches Handbook, as sent to the board under separate cover. M2, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the attached listing of media center items to be deleted from inventory per the attached exhibit. 3, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the student fee guidelines for the 2019-2020 school year. These guidelines including academic fees, course fees, co-curricular fees, and paid to participant fees per the attached exhibit. 4, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the 2019-2020 rental fee schedule per the attached exhibit. 5, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the breakfast and lunch prices for 2019-2020 as written in the agenda. 6, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the purchase of computers from Northeast Ohio Network for Educational Technology in the amount of $221,545.00 as sent to the board under separate cover. This is a general fund expenditure. 7, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the ice rink facility use agreement with the City of Garfield Heights, Ohio, Municipal Corporation, care of Dan Costel, Attorney Road, Garfield Heights, for the use of the ice rink and facility for the Twinsburg High School hockey team for September 1st, 2019 through March 1st, 2020, per the terms and conditions set forth in the agreement as sent to the board under separate cover. 8, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the gymnastic facility use agreement with Gym World of Twinsburg, 9085 Dutton Drive, Twinsburg, Ohio, for the use of the gymnastics facility for the Twinsburg High School gymnastic team from November 1st, 2019 through March 1st, 2020, per the terms and conditions set forth in the agreement as sent to the board under separate cover. 9, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the bowling facility use agreement with Roseanne Lanes of Bedford, Ohio, for the use of bowling facility for the Twinsburg High School bowling team from October 1st, 2019 through March 7th, 2020, for the terms and conditions set forth in the agreement as sent to the board under separate cover. 10, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the tennis facility use agreement with Western Reserve Racket and Fitness Club, Aurora Hudson Road in Streetsboro, for the use of their tennis facility from December 1st, 2019 through March 9th, 2020, per the terms and conditions set forth in the agreement as sent to the board under separate cover. 11, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves a 3-year renewal contract with East School View of Columbus, Ohio, for the renewal of the Twinsburg High School District CMS website and CMS responsive mobile site, maintenance, hosting, and support, as well as the annual ADA scan from July 1st through 2019 to June 30th, 2022, for the terms and conditions set forth in the agreement as sent to the board under separate cover. This is a general fund expense. And finally, 12, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves a contract with Patricia Coslow of Macedonia, Ohio, for the communications consulting services for the period of July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020, at a rate of $60 per hour, not to exceed 960 hours, as sent to the board under separate cover. This is a general expense. Do I have a motion for those 12 items as read?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Slura. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Curtis. Discussion. A lot there. A lot of work goes into the handbooks. Thank you very much. We encourage the students and parents to read them. Again, as it mentioned in the fees and the administrative report, and the minor changes that were there, and then, of course, the agreements for a lot of the work that goes into the sports. So I don't know if there's further comments from administration?
Mrs. Powers, can you provide a little bit of explanation for 6 with the computers for my unit?
Thank you. Yes, so one of the things that we know from the last 2 years is that the board has done an excellent job of rolling out our Chromebook Initiative, and that 2 years ago we institutionalized the Chromebooks at Twinsburg High School. This current year, the second part of Twinsburg High School being the 9th and 12th graders. Next year, the students at RB Chamberlain Middle School will have the benefit of participating in the Chromebook effort, but through a CART model, and so on down the line. And so this is a purchase that is in sync with the board's desire to roll out the Chromebook Initiative through the district. We have a 5-year replacement cycle in general for our technology, and so we have the Chromebook rollout going on, and then we have to maintain current computer labs in some places as well. And so this is a purchase that supports that. I want to thank Mr. McGing for his work behind the scenes. He works in collaboration with Mr. Welker to make sure that we are able to get the very best in pricing. And I do want to also thank our friends at Neonet because thanks to the power of group purchasing, we were able to secure these devices at a much better price than what we would have been able to do so had we gone out there ourselves to try to find vendors that can support us. Mr. Welker, did you want to add anything else about that purchase?
No, covered it well.
I wanted to shed a little light on 12, the communications consulting. This district goes really to many lengths to try to find as many ways to communicate to our constituents, parents, students alike. Things like the quality profile, which we've been participating 4 years, 5 years?
I
something like that.
Was
You know,
our
as a
50th.
document that is not a one-day snapshot, like a report card, but a complete in-depth review of what goes on in our district. That's just one example of the type of work that Mrs. Kozlow helps our district with in communications in a very economical way. So she's been working with our district for many years and providing very good work in a variety of communications consulting avenues, so including the website. So very instrumental there.
I just wanted to say, items 7 through 10, all those contracts are no increases to rental fees, as far as rental agreements for those. And then on number 11, we actually were able to decrease our contract over a 3-year period by 6%. So just wanted to stress those to the board.
We're just so used to you negotiating no increases and decreases that we just forget that.
Would not expect anything less from you,
Yeah.
Mr. Walker.
Thank you.
Anything further from my colleagues? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. DeFabio?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Felber?
Yes. And those 12 items pass 5-0. Continuing in that section, we have 13 and 14. 13, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves a proposal with Summit Hardwood Flooring of Uniontown for the summer 2019 gym floor renovation project at Twinsburg High School and R.B. Chamberlain School at a cost not to exceed $41,285.00. This is a permanent improvement expense as sent to the board under separate cover. And 14, resolved that the Twinsburg Board of Education approves the purchase of computers from Gov Connection of Merrimack, New Hampshire in the amount of $29,061.00. This is a permanent improvement expense as sent to the board under separate cover. Do I have a motion for those 2 items as read?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Curtis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Slur. I bet you the floors get used quite a bit, Mrs. Powers and Mr. Walker.
Right, and
So-
honestly, they do take a beating, don't they?
Yeah.
And we have a lot of things happening in both of the gyms. Now, it was 4 years ago or 5 years ago, we actually had the floors redone, and it's time to do something again. And what we want to do, you know, this past summer, we had a great partnership built at VMS, and we have a lot of the school spirit banners around, outside and inside of our buildings. But when we put the banners and the crash pads in the gym, there's a disconnect with colors too. And so we will be working with this organization to actually have the tigers repainted so that they are more in tune to the crash pad colors, which is the district color, which is the reflex blue. And so we look forward to some sharp gyms for our kids to come back to in the fall.
Excellent, thank you. Anything further comments? Roll call.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mrs. DeFabio?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Felber?
Yes. We are at miscellaneous. Come to my colleagues first, see if they have anything. All right, we're gonna keep moving on then. The board does have need for executive session, so I'm gonna make a motion that the Board of Education enters into executive session at 8:34 to discuss the employment and compensation of public employees as per Board of Education Policy 0166A. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Slur. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Felber?
Yes.
Mr. Solera?
Yes.
Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. DeFabio?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
And that item passes 5-0. The board is now in executive session, and we do not anticipate further business when we reconvene. Thank you.